Marked a location. Marked a location. Help!
other. In her kitchen, and they're in high school at the time, and so they're playing the Ouija board. There's this metal trash can with a metal lid in the kitchen. I said, Kim, a metal trash can and lid in your kitchen? She said, well, we lived out in the country, you know. So as they're playing the Ouija board, all of a sudden, they start just lift up and hover over the camp for a moment, and then it launched itself against the wall, hits the wall, goes flat against the wall, and it's as though someone was holding it against the wall, and then it just slid down real slowly down the wall, and then it would hit the ground and spin like a coin. And of course, they're just falling over each other. And I've seen correspondence between her recent correspondence and last month, where she asked them, hey, do you remember this event? Yeah, and it's still 23 years later. So there's stuff like this that strongly suggests that there is a supernatural dimension in reality. And of course, there are tons of stories like this. I could give you some of my own that I've experienced. Near-death experiences. Okay? These are experiences where a person is either clinically dead or near death, and they have an out-of-body experience normally. They come out of the body and they go places or see things, they learn. Now there are tens of thousands, and almost all of them cannot be confirmed. It's not to say they're false. They find somewhere they're fraudulent. They lied about it. Okay, but there are about 300 cases, according to my friend and a mentor of mine, Gary Habermas, who has studied near-death experiences for 45 years, and he is on the editorial board for the Journal of Near-Death Studies. So there's about 300 for which there is corroboration for what happened. There's a book that came out last year that's got about 200 of these. It's called The Self Does Not Die, and written by and contributed by various near-death experience NDE experts. And in this, they said the one criterion that had to be fulfilled to pass to have the story in this book is there had to be corroboration from at least one external source to corroborate what the NDE had seen and experienced. It seems to suggest that there's an afterlife of some sort in the spiritual dimension. Third would be apparitions. Now, an apparition, broadly speaking, is a spirit being. It's the appearance of a spirit being. It can be in space-time, it can be like a vision outside of space-time. It can be something you could touch, or it could be ethereal, like a ghost that you could put that you couldn't touch. Your hand would go through it. Now, there are a number of these reports like this out here. Dale Allison, one of the top New Testament scholars in the world, he teaches at Princeton. He's by no means an evangelical Christian scholar, and he has experienced some of these in the apparitions. Information to him that turned out to be accurate. He wasn't seeking answers at the apparition.
This is a simulation game set in a virtual world and does not represent real life. Please play in moderation, take frequent breaks, and play responsibly. Let's go! Enemies ahead! Someone has been here. This is a simulation game set in a virtual world and does not represent real life. Please play in moderation, take frequent breaks, and play responsibly. Watch out! Enemies ahead!
Here's what he said. I looked as hard as I could, but finally... Because if there is a supernatural dimension, it gives plausibility to the resurrection. This leads us then to my second contention, and that is that historical data strongly suggests that Jesus rose from the dead. And here I'm going to make this so simple. I'm going to try to make this
Watch out!
After his conversion, says in Galatians chapter 1, he went up to Jerusalem and he met with Peter, the lead apostle, for 15 days and asked him, he got a history of Jesus and what he said and did. And because he wanted the whole 9 yards from someone who had actually been with Jesus. And he also met with James, the brother of Jesus at that time. Then in Galatians chapter 2, Paul says that 14 years later he goes up to Jerusalem and he meets with the pillars of the church. He names them Peter, James, and John. And he says the reason being is he wanted to run the gospel message. I want you to remember that. The gospel message. He wanted to run the gospel message they were preaching. And he said they affirmed that he was fellowship to him. In other words, this one, Paul, good job. Keep up the good work, brother. So according to Paul, they certified he's teaching the same thing they're teaching. Now as historians we can look and say, well, how do we know that Paul was telling the truth? Maybe he was just making up that story to give himself authority that he really didn't have. Operating data, and we have that. A guy named Clement of Rome. And he is writing after Paul's death, and he calls Paul the Blessed Paul, and in fact in another passage of his letter to the church at Corinth, he places Paul on par with his mentor Peter. And then there's another guy named Polycarp. Now, anybody pregnant in here right now? Anybody? No? Oh, over there. You know if it's a boy or girl? Girl? No, too bad. I don't mean it that way. The joke doesn't work as well, but that's what I mean. See, if it's a boy, I'd be suggesting a name like Polycarp. Keep that in mind. It's a cool name, don't you think? So, maybe you can... No, you don't like that name. So, Polycarp was a disciple of the Apostle John. And Polycarp wrote in his letter to the church of Philippi that Paul accurately and reliably taught the message of truth. And in the same letter, he quotes from Paul's letter twice and refers to them as part of the These aren't the kinds of things that makes heresy different from what Peter and John are teaching. Precisely the kind of tidbits I could share, but I don't have the time. That should suffice though to show that when we are hearing Paul on the gospel message, we are likewise hearing the voice of the Jerusalem apostles. Now, wouldn't it be awesome if we had some sort of document that said, that lost letter of Paul that said, hey, I want to remind you of the gospel message I preached. That'd be awesome. Well, we have such a document. It's not lost. We've had it for a long time.